Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, at this time, I'm very happy to yield 2 minutes to the next governor of Indiana, the gentleman from Columbus, Mr. Pence.
The gentleman from Indiana is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding. I'd ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my
objection.
remarks. Mr. Speaker, I come to the floor to rise in support of the Budget Control Act of 2011, which is a negotiated compromise between the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives and the Republican and Democratic leadership of the United States Senate. Let me say that again. The Budget Control Act that we will bring to the floor today is a compromise. At a time when people across America long for a Washington, D.C. that is able to reach across the aisle, lower the volume, solve the problem, this legislation comes to the floor, and I'm proud to support it. And the truth is, this is a difficult time for people across my beloved Indiana and all across this country. Our economy is struggling. Unemployment's at 8.3% in Indiana, 9.3% nationally. And I believe that runaway federal spending by both political parties is a cause and a barrier to our economic recovery today. We simply must put our fiscal house in order. Now, I know the administration wanted us simply to raise the debt ceiling without conditions, but that was rejected, I think, almost unanimously in the United States Senate. And we rejected it as well in this body. What needs to be done today is we need to recognize that if you owe debts, pay debts. We have to raise the nation's debt ceiling so that we have the money to pay the nation's bills, but we also owe a debt to this generation of Americans struggling in this economy and to the next generation of Americans that we can only repay through fiscal discipline and reform. And the Budget Control Act does that. The Budget Control Act does two things that I believe are worth highlighting. Number one, it ensures in this first installment that there will be $1 in budget cuts for every $1 in increase in borrowing authority by the United States. And that's crucial.
Speaker, I'd like to yield my friend an additional minute.
Secondly, the agreement around the Budget Control Act also ensures that there will be a vote in this body now tomorrow and a vote in the United States Senate this fall on a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution of the United States. There are other aspects of this bill that are meritorious. Hard spending caps, more enforceable than spending caps of the past. The creation of a bipartisan commission to negotiate spending discipline and reforms for the next installment of a debt ceiling increase. But for my part, making sure that any increase in the debt ceiling is matched dollar for dollar with spending cuts in this bill, and for the first time in 15 years, bringing a bipartisan version of the balanced budget amendment to this floor of the House and soon to the floor of the Senate, are worthy of note, and they should endorse this approach. This is a very serious time, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the Budget Control Act as evidence that Congress can still compromise. We can still come together across the aisle. We can find a way to pay the nation's bills and do so in a way that reflects our commitment to fiscal discipline and reform.
Gentleman from